In this video, I'm going to tell you the real reason behind why leaders burn out, why it's got nothing to do with your situation and how to prevent it before it takes you out of the game. But before we get into the detail, hit the subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss my next video on Leadership Inside Out. Okay, so here's the truth bomb. You're not burned out because you work too hard. You're not burned out because of the economy, and you're not burned out because your people keep messing up. You're burned out because you've been leading from the outside in. Now, what on earth does that mean? It means you're focused on KPIs, on results, on conflicts between your people, on being more productive, on finding more time for everything, on getting your team to be more effective, etc., etc. All this stuff is out there in the world at work and at home. But what about you? And what about what's going on inside you? What about the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, the stories you're telling yourself about the world you're in? Because believe it or not, it's these inner dynamics that are creating your experience of life, not your situation. We think it's what happens out there that determines how we think and feel. The rude client that makes you angry, the poor results that make you anxious, the team member that frustrates you, the boss you can't stand. And because we believe it, that's exactly what we experience. But the truth is the other way round, 180 degrees reversed. It's how we think and how we feel that determines how we experience work. And when you get this, really get it, it's a game changer. You start to live life instead of having life live you. You become the architect of your life, not its victim. When you believe that all this bad stuff is happening to you, it will weigh you down, drain your energy, and burn you out faster than a wildfire in a hurricane. It can't be any other way. When you believe anything that is fundamentally opposed to the truth, what do you expect? Now, let's be very clear on the difference between stress and burnout. Stress is a fact of life for nearly everyone on the planet. Put simply, it's the gap between what we have and what we want. It's needing more time to finish a report. It's having a colleague whose behaviour is challenging. It's running out of money at the end of the month. It could also be the prospect of losing your job. These are facts of life that many of us experience. But burnout is rather more than just stress, even intense stress. The WHO defines it as an occupational phenomenon linked to chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed. It's the accumulation of the impact of unremitting stress over time. The symptoms of burnout include emotional exhaustion, cynicism, feeling detached from work, and reduced effectiveness. Physical symptoms can include headaches, muscle pain, sleep problems. Behavioural symptoms include irritability, lack of concentration, and avoiding responsibilities. If these symptoms persist, they will increase and eventually render you unable to function properly at home and at work. Burnout is no laughing matter, it's serious. In 2011, Antonio Horta Osorio, the chief executive of Lloyds Banking Group, spent 9 days at the Priory Clinic to prevent a complete breakdown brought on by prolonged stress. He thought he could power through the symptoms. He was wrong. A couple of my clients have even contemplated ending their lives because of the helplessness and hopelessness that ensued from burning themselves out. So what do you do about stress and how do you avoid burnout? Well, there are 3 basic approaches you can take. The first is to soldier on, tough it out, and keep going in the hope that things will change. And sometimes they do for the better. The situation shifts and the burden of stress is lifted. KPIs improve, the nightmare employee resigns, your competitor goes bust. The second approach is to take your foot off the gas, remove yourself from the situation and allow yourself time to recuperate. A good holiday or a sabbatical can do you the power of good. The third is what I call the inside-out approach. This requires a radical reframing of your perception of what is really going on based on a growing knowledge of who you are and what you are not. Now, the first approach, which we can call the more of the same approach, can be coincident with an upturn in circumstances, which relieves stress and reduces the chances of burning out. But things can go the other way too. Things might not change, they might even get worse. What do you do then? Well, you can implement the second approach and take your foot off the gas and remove yourself from the situation. But that can be easier said than done if the pressure for results is unremitting or individuals continue to cause havoc in the business. What can easily happen is that you get dragged unconsciously into giving more and more and pushing your mind and body beyond certain limits. Those limits are different for all of us, but they will eventually push back and enforce the second approach, the foot off the gas approach, without your permission. In other words, your mind and body will take you out of the game, whether you want it or not, by rendering you incapable of continuing. This can be very difficult and traumatic and should not be anyone's favoured choice. The second approach of taking your foot off the gas before you burn out is clearly more intelligent than trying to power through. But what happens in your short-term or long-term absence? Your team or organisation must suffer as a result. And if it doesn't, then what on earth have you been doing in it? So both these approaches have severe drawbacks, and neither of them leave you any better placed to deal with similar situations in the future. The third approach, the inside-out approach, on the other hand, will get to grips with the belief systems, learnt patterns of negative, reactive behaviour and thinking that are limiting your response to the world around you. This is the sustainable framework which will not only deal with current challenges, but allow you to rise to bigger challenges that lie waiting for you in the future. Our inside-out framework has 3 stages: anatomy, acceleration, and application. Anatomy explores who we are and what we are not as human beings. It draws on many ancient and modern sources of wisdom, from yogic philosophy to neuroscience, from Plato to quantum physics. It gradually opens up new perspectives on the way our minds work and how our thinking and feeling faculties create our experience of life. The acceleration stage puts the anatomy stage into practice and gets you using everyday life to witness consciously how you react to circumstances. The beauty of this act of observation is that no intervention is required to change habits. It's enough to see what is really going on to change your behaviour and to accelerate your evolution and development. Finally, the application stage applies this newfound wisdom to your professional role, enabling you to develop key aspects of your leadership. These include vision, purpose, resilience, strategy, integrity, and delegation. In this way, you use the stress and impending burnout to not only avert their impact, but to catapult your leadership beyond where you ever thought it could reach. So to recap, burnout is not caused by other people or your circumstances. It's the direct result of your unconscious reactions to stress. If you choose to power on through it, you might be lucky, but you might not be. If you pull back to recuperate, the business may suffer in the process. And although you will surely recover, you will not have changed your ability to cope in future. But if you take an inside-out approach to your leadership, you will not only boost resilience many times over, you will also develop your ability to handle many new situations that will challenge you in the future. You will expand your leadership capability. How do you do it? How do you consciously accelerate your capacity to lead yourself and others? There's only one way to do this, and it is through inner mastery, the ability to master your thoughts, emotions, and the way you perceive the world outside you. For the last 10 years, I have dedicated my professional life to helping others develop their inner mastery in order to accelerate their evolution as leaders. To take the first step on this ladder, I've developed a free 5-minute leadership insight diagnostic which will score you as a leader and give you insights into key aspects of your leadership evolution. You can find the link in the comment below. Completing the diagnostic will take you to more resources, including books, courses and programs, all of which I've created specifically to accelerate the evolution of leaders through development of inner mastery. This is Leadership Inside Out. And before you go, if you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, hit the thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.